Our team, welcome back to our day 3 of our SDET Python training, and we will kind of continue with where we left our day 2 team. Let's take a quick look at it and make sure that we're all on the same page. I've created a Skype group specifically for the ITeLearn and JPAC members for this specific training. So if you have any questions or communication regarding the ongoing SDET Python training, then please let us know in that. Now, that link, I'm going to put it in the chat as well. Use this link to join that group, please. Now, the challenge with this is, please make sure, team, you're a member, and accordingly should be able to join. So I'm going to join that as well from here. So there are a few groups, team, that I've created, which are critical for us. One is an NEOTX dev team. Then there is CTAF phase 2. There's JPAC 11 and 12, SDET Python. There's one or two more groups that we've created. All these groups I've created, put them into a Google Drive as well. Groups. So here is a list of all the groups that are relevant to what we're doing. So please keep these handy, and members, please join these groups. Right? Okay, so how's progress going, team, at your end? Have we been able to start looking at programming? Can I take a look at some of the members' code or screens to see where you are and how you progress, please? Okay. And we'll also review day 2 once. Let's review day 2, what we did, and I would love to see some of your work that you're doing at your end. You don't need to open Skype right now, team, but that's for our communication as we keep going along. Okay. Is there a link for lifetime members? No, there's no link for lifetime members. Nirja, I will come to you in a few minutes. Anyone else who would want to share the screens, please raise your hands. Okay, so this is what we've been doing yesterday. So I think we left it at comments on day 1, and then we started with variables on day 2. So variables. So what is it that we were trying to understand about variables? Primarily the concept that there are simple containers, exactly like what we see in a contact list. So instead of adding phone numbers of everyone, we add the names and then associated phone number to that given name, right? So whenever we want, we call the reference by that name, and automatically the value comes out to us. So that's how we are able to identify I mentioned that. Okay, so I can call n and I'll always get the value that is there. Right now it is x, and we could change this value from x onto it becoming y or something else. Okay. And we're speaking about how we can do a single line comment and a bulk line comment using a triple double quote. And we created as one variable called fname. So this is camel case here, team. And camel case is basically all lowercase, rather all lowercase, first character of each word except for first word is uppercase. Too much to put in the code. So I will copy this. We'll also cut it here and put some of this documentation down. So, and basically what we're saying, whenever I want to give a very descriptive name to a variable, we don't use spaces, team. There are a lot of restrictions that we have within naming convention. So it will not let you give spaces because space means that it is divided into something else. Now it has 4 things here to identify instead of 1. So space divides them. So when we are giving anything without space, everything is considered as 1. You can use underscore, and certain times you can use numbers and special characters and so on. But stick with numbers, underscore, and just regular alphabets. We went with next set of variables where we said that we can, anything in double quotes becomes a string. A string is nothing but an alphanumeric text. And I also mentioned the importance that it is okay to put a comment, but don't put comments where you have to horizontally or even write code where there's too much horizontal scrolling. We have a name, we have an age, which is a number, and a weight that is got a decimal in it. And we're using a function called type, where I'm sending the variable itself, and it'll tell me what type of a variable it is. So I can always expand this to be more clear. My name is of type, double quotes ends, comma, and then type. So remember that additional space that we had from yesterday that we learned in the previous session. We're trying to avoid that because we learned it already. And right now we can print. Let's do that once. So 05 variables, right click and run. And I get my name is of type class string. The second one is also class string, int float. So you've seen these data types in the very simplest possible fashion. We started playing a little bit with numbers, team, where I said A is 100, B is 200, C to start with is 0. Not a needed step. Okay, so it is not necessary to initialize or declare a variable within Python before we start to use it. So you can directly put a value into it, and the declaration as to what type it is automatically assigned to it. And what we did is we started working simple with mathematical operators. So I can now talk about things like C is A plus B. It's just an addition. So when we give an equation like this, let's say A plus B, what we basically are trying to do is take the values on the right side of the equation and put it on the left side of the equation. So equal to sign is always doing that. Take the right side and put it on the left side. Right side is a small formula, just an addition. So that will do the summing and it put it into the value of C. I will then put what is the value of C and the type of C. Now the same one, I'll do subtraction, and then I'm doing multiplication, and then I'm doing division. There are a lot more math variable or functions team that we will get exposed to. I will also take you through the W3 schools library. Anything that we've been missing, we will recover them again. But what is very critical is the most important programming logic and how we go on building the right syntax. After which we went into the if statements. We said, whenever I want to do a directional change in my flow, I will take a if statement to do so. When was this? Images. There's only one, is it? I thought I also created one more. There are a few. Where is the no problem. This is variables, control N. It's different. So when you want to change the route of your program and follow from there on something else, a status 1 or a status 2, and this will go in its own direction, this will go in its own direction. And then we have a condition out here. So what do I mean by these conditions, team, in real life programs or applications that we evolved or use very well? For example, a simple thing like a login. Okay. Now, if login is true, if passed, then I'll show you the account details and you can start working with your account. If the login failed, then I will ask you to re-enter or recover your password or ask you some security questions to reset it. So see how my direction is changing depending on if the login is information is correct or not. So that direction on how we can do that is possible through putting something called as a condition. So bare minimum condition is something like this. Let us say I have two variables, A and B. And you know by looking at it that these are numbers. Why? Because they don't have double quotes, number one. Second, they also don't have decimals. That means it is an integer for us. It's a decent size number. If A is less than B, colon. So this specific thing is the syntax of how we write if statement within Python, and you don't mess with it and you don't keep writing whatever you want. You write it in the way it is given. You cannot make it upper cases and lower cases because Python is case sensitive. It is better. Too many S's. It's better always for us to be case sensitive too. Okay, so I don't give the option to fail because, oh, you know, this language is case sensitive, that language is not, so I'll take advantage here, no advantage there. All languages these days are more case sensitive. They want you to be specific about things. So even, for example, this colon means something. This colon basically means that it is the end of this condition called A is less than B. I can also put them in brackets if I want to, so that way it is well separated and easier to understand. The fact that you can leave it as is and you don't have to give anything additional. One of the good things Python did is, how can we write the same logic with fewer characters / lines of code compared to Java or a C sharp and so on. So Python has always tried to make itself more productive. And that is the reason we see a lot of people made a good switch onto Python T. So if 10 is less than 20, then we're saying these are the two steps that we print. Else, these are the two steps. Now, in this condition, how does it know that these two steps get printed? Always remember to the fact that the most important thing here is the tab. So if I add one more step here and say print end of else, then there are three statements that will get printed in if else comes true. But if this condition 10 less than 20 is true, then we will have these statements. End of if. Okay. Skype. Skype too. Here too. Team this week, and this week will be a little relaxing on Python. We won't do too much because I wanted to feel comfortable. And then next week we're gonna do a lot more aggressive step. Now, before we continue forward and look at something additional, I would love to look at your screens, team. I have only couple of hands raised. I want to make you presenters to see your screens. Neeraj, I'm going to start with you, and then I have Chitra. Anyone else going after that to show the screens? Doesn't have to be technical issue, team. I would love to see what is working as well. It does, motivate me, and it'll give me a chance to see what is happening at your end. Please raise your hand. Meanwhile, Neeraja, I made you the presenter. You're welcome, Swati. Yes, we can see your screen. Can't hear you yet. Can you check with your mic once, please? On GoToWebinar. We can see your screen very clearly, but cannot hear you, Neeraja. You may have to check on your mic settings once. Meanwhile, let's see. Who else is there with a hand raise? Have Lata, Chitra. I'll come back to you, Neeraja. Just check on your mic once. Making Chitra the presenter meanwhile.
Hi,
Yeah, Chitra.
can you
Yes. Neeraja, take your time, Neeraja. Yes, Chitra, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah, so
yes, please.
I just wrote a very few steps only, Karthik. So like you taught about the single line comment, right? And then I just went to all the variables, all type of variables, string and integer, decimal, and just worked on some operators, and then if condition. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and I can also see. Okay, if condition is there.
And then
Yes.
like I tried multi-line command. Yeah, that's all I have tried. Do you want me to execute it?
So you kind of combined all the 5,
Yeah,
6
whatever
programs.
you taught, that day itself I practiced myself.
Very nice, very nice. And it works fine. It
Yeah,
should be okay.
it's executing.
So let's execute it.
Yeah, here. So first thing I'm printing the A plus B that's coming out. And then I'm printing just message, my first program. And here I'm checking the if condition and A is less than B. So it's printing that.
Yeah.
And next one, I'm just checking the type and just I give comma. So how it works and all, I just checked it. So in Java, we add a plus symbol for concatenation, right? So
Correct.
here it's a comma. So I just tried with the different things.
Yes.
Yeah, that's on my side, Karthik.
Yes. Very nice. And end of the program.
Yes,
Very good. Good job, Chitra.
thank you.
And keep adding to the code, please. We're going to do
Sure,
a
sure.
couple of exercises today, and then you can add.
Yeah, sure, Karthik.
Hi, this is Karthik.
Hi, Karthik, Lata here. Can you hear me?
Yes, Lata. Can you give me 1 minute, please?
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yes, Lata. We can hear you.
I just write a few commands, like declaring the variables and executing as a print statement. One other is if else command. Yeah, that's it. I did. I did not do much explore on this.
That's good. That's good. Get started. I like it. Go to the other one, Lata. Niraja, is your mic back on?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, great. So I'll come to you after Lata then.
Sure.
So, why do you think there is a small underline on line 1, 2, and 5? Take your mouse over that.
Yeah, it's showing missing white space around operator.
So, equal to is an operator where it is doing some assignment. So, it is a recommendation. It is not a syntax error, but it highly recommends that around an operator give spaces. That way, it is
Space.
clear,
Yeah.
even visibility.
Yeah.
It's a recommendation. Let's do the same.
But still it's showing.
No, it'll go away. Just come to line 3. It should go. Just try and take your mouse over once again. Take over the underline.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yes. Now, what happened here? So this seems to be a grammar, spelling error. We want to say
Yeah.
subtract, correct? So
Right.
remove that
Yeah.
S in between. Remove that S
I
in
think my
between.
system is hanged. Yeah.
Oh, it's a system. And sorry, I don't want to be someone who picks on this specific details team, but just that, believe in me, in our IT world, that is all what lot of IT leaders and seniors see. They look at, okay, why is this person not fixing that? They're seeing it right. So they want us to be very well balanced in everything, team. So even these small things will give a good one. So yes, it takes a little bit more effort and time, but give it that focus and effort, and it'll come good. And Lata, I'm glad that you've put a nice command. A is 10, B is 10, 20, print start of program, A plus B is so, A subtract B is so, end of program. So that's a very good thing to do. And the difference that in this code compared to ours is there's no C. Directly they've
Yeah.
right on line 4 and 5, the calculation itself, and that's good. Good to do. Great, good job. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Lata. Thank you. And Neeraja, coming to you.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So I followed the examples that were done from day 1. So it's almost exactly like yours. This is just the print. We are trying to see the print statements, the little comments, and then realize how empty spaces do not mean anything. So I execute that.
Mm. Give me 1 second,
Yes,
please.
sure.
Yes. Okay. So you've got all the codes almost in similar fashion. Good. Fine.
Yeah. And the second one, I was just trying a little example, which includes a little bit of math calculation and also converting that into a string.
Right.
So that way it gets displayed.
So team, we have not looked at type conversions yet, and that is why I used a comma, but we will look at it. And it is good that Neeraja, you explored and try to see how will that work. So that's good.
Mm-hmm. And then I just printed with the hard-coded values at first in the program, and then commented that using a block comment, and then made all those as variables, and then printed with the proper formatting, which gives more explanation about what they are.
Nice.
So that's the other one. And then variable types. So it's almost a similar program wherein we're trying to get different types of variables. So I just used that they have a type of that with little explanation that my first name type is class string, like, and so forth. And then the next one is using value C and manipulating the same value with a different different mathematical operations, and then trying to get the class of all that. And then here I've been changing values and making sure that both the statements work when it is less than or greater than. And then where try a condition where it is always true, so that one is printed too.
Yes,
if I change this to something else, it should display A is not less than B.
And we've been doing hard-coded values.
Yeah, and then hard-coded values, so making it as 10 less than 20, where we are always going to see these statements and never see these statements.
Sure.
The second setup.
Excellent, good one. And see, I'm really glad to see such kind of a output as well, team, where you are looking at the video and writing the code and trying it at your end. That is what will really help you. And good job, because this way I don't have to send it across to you, each time. But what I will do is I will definitely accumulate towards every week and send you a bunch of code then so you can sync up. Great, good job, Neeraja. Glad about it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you, Neeraja. Subhashini, I'm making you presenter. You have a hand raised. What you wanted to show?
Hi, Karthik.
Hi.
Hi. I just did the same way like Chitra did, and then I can explore the other, like condition for loop and if loop. I did it myself today, exploring couple of things.
Okay, good.
And like variable, as you said, I just declare, and then I also did the subtraction and division, and then I in that same program I did the if loop, if else also, and then variable also I did the same whatever you taught it at the class.
Nice, very good.
And then I just explore like just a for loop and while loop.
Mhm. Sure. And sometimes we call them as conditions or statements or loops, and what they are slowly we'll go through, team. So I'll come to for loops in a bit, so let's wait on them. But good to see that most of the members are able to do till whatever we have done in the class. I've got a couple of chat messages. Anything else that you want to show, Subhashni?
No, Karthik, that's all I did. Whatever you taught at class, I did everything, program
Great.
myself, and like I want to update.
Great, thank you. So the same one question I do have, one of the other users who was showing today you remember that we had to put spaces around the operator. It gave us an underline as a suggestion. It did not come for you. I don't know why, that error message. So it's interesting that it did not ask you to do the same in your PyCharm ID. It's an ID.
Yeah, for me also, Karthik, I didn't get the error.
You didn't, right?
Yeah.
But maybe it is it with the latest version that is there? It could highly be possible.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we can check that later. All right, so where are we then, team? Thank you, Subhashni. Yeah, your hand is raised. I'm making you presenter quickly, and then I want to get ahead with the session. Can't see your screen yet if you're sharing. Satya? Yes, we can see the screen now.
Yeah, so yeah, I can run it. So here it's like I'm seeing duplicate, like my first project, again my first project, like here.
Why are you even going into external libraries? Minimize it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Duplicate anything that I've not shown, but you have not maybe put it into the correct library. Where is your where is hello world.py? Show me, please.
This one.
Yeah, don't open external libraries, and
Okay.
do not try and go into anything deeper till the foundation and basics are being set for us. Okay, because not that you should not. I don't want you to get lost yet. It is not needed for us at the moment. We will use a lot of libraries. When we come there, we can learn about it. Okay.
Right.
But good to see, Satya, that you've got a code going hello world. And then what is line?
Which one? Yeah, this was the next line. I just tried to print next line.
No,
like
that's line 3. Line 2.
Line 2 is just want to put something like
and it's printing at the rate towards the end.
Yeah. So I'm just adding this.
/n is a new line. Yeah, you're exploring it. Good. Nice. All right, great, Satya.
Yep.
Good to know you're catching up well on it.
Yep.
Almost you're doing it the same way, whatever we're learning, putting it into one code, and that's fine too. You'll anyway get access to what we're doing on this.
Okay.
Team, let me get going then. You're welcome. Thank you, Satya. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
There is one member who said that hasn't started yet, but will do over the weekend. Absolutely fine, team. If you've not got a chance to install and start practicing, no problem. You will have to get there now. Okay. So now, team, let's try and explore something that is there. Okay. I'm going to do one exercise and I want you to do another exercise. Okay. So let's do 08, more like an assignment. 1. Can I request everyone to be on? I'll do it myself. So let's do something called as a weekend team. So all that this code has to do, I'll write a purpose of this code, what it has to do, team. Take today's date and then observe what we are doing and how we are doing, team. Each and everything in this. Take today's date and print if it is a weekend or not. That's all we will do. Now, how do we collect a date? I can use Python get me system date, but will take few more classes. So we will get into some complication. Then the other way to input is take input from the user. Now, very important for me, team. Can I get an answer for this over the chat? Let me open up a Paint. What does IO stand for in our computer world? What does the word IO stand for? Everyone, we have a clarity on what IO stands for? Input, output. Perfect. So input is a way through which a user is able to provide some feedback into an application or an IT process. An output is what we are able to get back from that application or an IT process. Okay, so this constant input output methodology is what we use. What are the different types of inputs that we can use, team, or input devices or methods that we have? We can use a keyboard to enter information. We can use a mouse, correct? What else? We can use a keyboard. We can use a mouse. And who enters this information from keyboard or mouse? It's a user. Exactly. Joystick possible. Output. Where do we see an output, team? Screen. Very good. Excellent. Or print. Perfect. Or email. Reports. Or maybe we'll send it to the cloud. So console, we'll assume it's under the screen. And these inputs can come from user, or we could send data as API information, where we already know what format or what template it is going, or it can go in as an XML data as well, and so on. So there are multiple ways that we could send inputs and how we look at output. The big part of programming is to automate, and we need to be able to do that. So in this case, let us take input from the user. Now, what do I mean to say? I want the user to enter. So I will say print and say enter today's date. And for this, I will say just a variable called x equals print, not print, input. And that's it. And now let's first see what does this do, print x. Okay, so let's run this as is. Yes, JSON, your API comes through JSON. So now see team, enter today's date is here. And I have a cursor on my console. And I'm not going to enter a date. I will say it is a Thursday. Okay, so I'll enter THU. I'm sorry, team. Now what happened, team? As soon as I entered THU, it printed that value. So X has got the variable value loaded through the command called input. And input is taking the information through the keyboard from the user. User is able to enter that data for us. So now what I'll say is if X equals, and that is how we are comparing data team. Let us say Saturday, then I will say print weekend. Okay, and I will say if X equals Sunday, I will print weekend. Okay. Now we just try to improve the way we're writing our if statements. So in this case, I have two conditions. One condition where X is equal to Saturday, and another condition where X is equal to Sunday. Now the difference here, team, very important, is we're using double equal to. And the reason we are doing this is because we are doing a comparison and not an assignment. A single equal to is an assignment where it takes the values on the right side and it will put it on the left side. So that Python does not confuse with it, we use the double equal to sign. All right, everyone. Now, what is it that we have done? And team, we are not at all trying to write the most best logical, smartest code. We are only trying to write a code that works as simple as it can. Okay, so I'm taking an input. If it is Saturday, it will print weekend. If it is Sunday, it will print weekend. Tell me, team, will it under any condition print both Saturday and Sunday? Is there a possibility that it can do Saturday and Sunday? See, my X value is set here. I'm printing X here. I'm not changing X anywhere else. So if X remains to be constant, only one of them can ever be true. Both statements can never be true. Is it correct, team? And we want to make sure that this is how it is. That yes, if I enter something, then it should tell me if it is weekend. Now, at least it'll tell me if it's a weekend. We have not got to the or not part yet. Okay. I'm still a bad programmer. So I want to get good at programming. So I'll take my baby steps. So rerun this code. And I'm ready to enter today's date as Saturday, Sat. Okay. And it has given me something. It says Sat weekend. Good. Let's rerun it. Control Shift F10. Why is it not working in the system? How about Sunday? See how I'm testing my own code team. And every developer has to do a lot of self-code testing. And yes, I got weekend. Now I have one more condition to check, which is not matching any of these days. And I will say it is Monday, for example. It doesn't tell me that it is not a weekend. So is my goal completed? Is my task done? Team, is it okay if I take 5 more minutes? I want to give you one assignment to go. So here, now what is it that I want to do? Okay, this is fine, but I'm having an issue the way this is looking and working. So what I'm going to do is think different. Okay, I'll try and be more logical, smarter in what I want to do. What is my condition? My condition, so then is in a different way to put the same English statement. If it is weekend or not. So basically, if it is Saturday or Sunday, it is weekend, else it is weekday. There is another way to write a code. So I can keep this code as is. Let's delete this. See how we can write bad code first, and then we get to good code. Monday, weekday, you, weekday, then weekday. Simple, right? It is so beautiful. Sometimes just to do labor, no thought process, because my thinking is already done. Now I'm just doing execution. Saturday, Sunday, perfect. So 7 days. So I have 5 weekdays and I have 2 weekends. Correct? Sits well with our calendar. Now, but I have so many if statements, and this is should be still a code that works. See how we are evolving team in our coding practice. Enter today's date, and I'll say Tuesday, and it says Tuesday weekday. Okay, great. I want to do it again. Enter today's date. Friday weekday. Perfect. It's good. How about Saturday? Weekend. My code seems to be working fine. Now, if this is a coding challenge and I submit it, I will pass. I will not fail. But it just looks a little big. Now, then comes a smarter coder who will say that, you know what, all this is good, but why do you need all these? When all I got to do is print weekday or weekend, then I'll put it like this. I'll say if X equals Saturday, or X equals Sunday, then I will print weekend, else I'll print weekday. Smart, right? I've used an OR statement that combined that if X is Saturday or if X is Sunday, then print weekend. In every other case, print weekday. Now look team, look at the complications that will come. How programming is important for us. Enter today's date, Tuesday, weekday, done, works great. Friday, weekday, right, works great. Sunday. And see that data that we are entering is coming in green color team. Maybe different if you're using a white background. And that's good. And it works, right? Any issues with it, team? Isn't the code perfect? and much better than what we saw earlier? Team, don't you all think the code is perfect? Looks good, right? Yes or no? Be on one side, everyone. Okay. Now let's see. Think of it. What if I enter monkey here? Right? And that is where we will have a situation where your program will act fishy, team. And we're only talking about Mont, you, when, and so on. And the other issue is also simple things like if we enter like SAT like this, it says it is a weekday. See? And because I entered lowercase, it told me it's a weekday. Yeah. And I can also enter, like we said, January. Irrelevant. It will say it's a weekday. So that's very critical, team. The code may be effective sometimes, but may not give us the result. This code, though it is long, will definitely give us the correct result. So the other way is we can do this, and I can have two if statements also. Else if will come to. I don't want to overcrowd it. I'll say. So there's another statement then. So this failed friends. Let's put it as a failure. Oops. And comment this also. Now we will then talk about how we can get into multiple conditions. So if this is true, X is sat or sun print weekend, else if, and the short form for it is else if, is basically saying that, okay, this is false, but I have another condition, something like this only, but it will be or. So I've used 5 if statements in this. It still will not be a perfect code, team, but it will work. And here I'm going to write mon use and then here in this condition I'll say it is a weekday. Here I'll say, are you kidding? Enter the right format. Okay. Now see how we are being smarter to the user back. So if the user tries to act smart and enter donkey, it says, are you kidding? Enter the right format of the date. It didn't recognize it. So it'll continue to do that till it gets the right input. And so the right input for it is not even SAT. It is upper SAT because it is case sensitive for us. Unless I say that, hey, you know what, irrespective of what case it is okay. So now I write mon verbs. And see, each time I'm having to run theme, it's nice if I can somehow put it to keep on doing it by itself. I write sat, and works fine, and so on. Let me explain what this is. A lot of times you don't have an option to just say that, oh, I have only 1, 2, 3. Sometimes you will come up with something that gives you to do a third option or a fourth option or an nth option. So that is when, if one condition is true, go here. Else, if another condition is true, go here. Else if, shortened to become LF as a verb. So it starts with like a typical if statement. We say if like a condition, then colon to whatever you want. If that fails, I won't jump to else directly. I have one more condition to check. Else if, does it meet at least any of these? Then that's good. Else, it does not meet either this or this condition, then we are here. And I can add more t. And let's say I can also add if x equals, I'll show you what I mean. So look at this. I can have as many else if statement as possible. But condition 1, true, great, do this. Condition 2, true, then do this. And if it is not true, it will come out team. Remember, only one will get executed at any time. It cannot have all conditions being checked for. Once it meets one condition, it's going to come out of it. Okay. And then again condition 3 and so on. Now see, in condition 3, I have met it already out here. I'm just putting something like a cheat sheet, or how we can like Trojan things embedded into our code. And user enters this information, automatically it gets in there. I can have as many else if statements as I want. That is all I wanted to implicate. I'm going to give you one assignment, team, and it's going to be very simple. See if you can do it. So I entered and I get to a different zone altogether. I want you all to do something similar. Oopsie. 09 assignment 02 math calculator. Any questions, team? I'm ending the session in the next few minutes. Purpose: enter two numbers, enter operator, give out the result. And this you can use input to enter from the user team. And let us say you have two numbers, x equals input, and within this input you can write the statement itself. Enter the first number. And similarly, copy this. And this becomes second. This becomes y. Make sure your code looks beautiful always. Because very critical for us. And let us say my operator is OP1. Enter the operator. And when I run this code, just to show you, and you should do the remaining, I'll come back tomorrow to finish this. Enter the first number, I'll say 10. So see, I'm entering it into the same line. It is coming along with that option. Second number, 20. An operator, let us say, is plus. It's actually not doing anything after that. What I want you to do is take it forward, and depending on what operator, do that following and print that result. Easy, right? Now you can, with this else and if, what you've seen, you should be able to do till then. Practice on this, team. It will put you into a great position to move on to the next steps into Python. That's it from my side. I'm assuming no more questions. If there are, please let me know. All right. I'll see you all tomorrow, team. If there's any change in the schedule or anything, I'll put it into our SDET group on Skype. Okay. This video also is going to go on YouTube, after which it will go on to our ITeLearn.com. Thanks, everyone. Bye then.